Good morning. For me, it's morning. I just wanted to quickly go over what my expectations are, kind of how we do history class and Bible class. Basically, I'm going to be going over this letter that either you should have gotten an orientation or that your student may bring home one day this week. First of all, I do teach 7th grade Bible. 7th grade Bible is basically going to be they come in every morning, write their memory verse on Friday. They'll turn it in where they've written usually 5 times. But if it's a 4-day week, 4 times. And they'll get graded for that. Then they'll have a memory verse quiz. They'll get a grade for that. There is some book work, but most of that can be done in class. So that's their 7th grade Bible grade. History. They do have simple solutions. If you've been at Calvary at all, you know simple solutions. I'm dropping papers. Simple solutions book. The main thing with simple solutions book that everybody forgets is the back of the book. In the back of the book, there's all these help pages. So if your child's stuck on a question and can't find it, tell them to go to the help pages. The Simple Solutions is a spiral curriculum, which means it just, builds on itself. So the question may be from last year or 2 years ago, or it may be from a lesson at the very beginning of the book and we're on lesson 110. Instead of going all the way to the front of the book to lesson 1, good chance they're going to find it in the help pages. And if they're completely stuck, can't find the help pages, if it's just one question, I'm not going to be upset if they don't do it, because it could be from 2 years ago. Once a week, they will have a Simple Solutions quiz. Simple Solutions quiz is just like everything else. I give great study guides. This is an old one from a student who's not even here anymore. She's now a junior. Oh my goodness, I can't believe it. But yeah, she's now a junior. But this is what she copied off of what I wrote. She did a great job of copying it. Simple Solutions quiz 1. Very important that they label their quiz study guides, test study guides, so they'll know what they're supposed to be studying. The first question here she has is blank is the study of, I'm trying to read it backwards, sorry, of the Earth's surface. And the answer is geography. And ta-da, here's the Simple Solutions quiz. First question, geography is the study of the Earth's surface. This that I'll write on the board tells them exactly what to expect on the Simple Solutions quiz. Just their job to copy it, take it home, study it. Copying it, keeping it organized, studying it. I really emphasize study skills in this class. I want you to learn history, but to learn how to study. Keeps going. Tells you, there's a paragraph fill in the blank that you'll have to use these words, know what they mean to know how to fill in the blank. These are the hardest to make and could be the hardest to study because it's not straight multiple choice matching like the Abeka history quizzes and tests are. They're a little more complicated because, you have maps, you have fill in the blanks of paragraphs, graphic organizers, but still I try to tell them exactly what they need to know. So that's one thing. Then I tell you the next thing is they'll have quizzes. They have their history book. I just grabbed 7th grade because it was on top, but they'll have their Abeka history book, and they'll have quizzes from this, which are totally separate, totally different than the Simple Solutions quizzes. Same thing, though. After we discuss so much in class, then they'll have a quiz, same thing. Quiz study guide that says exactly what is going to be on the quiz. This is one my daughter made. First question, was a large group of people who think of themselves as one and act in history as a unit? And the answer is nation. So she copied the question, copied the answer, and then question 5, word for word on the quiz says, what is a large group of people who think of themselves as one and act in history as a unit? Answer is nation. So, same thing. Give awesome study guides. Just have to copy it and study it. And then the next thing that's from the history book is test. The test study guides are a little bit different. I'll flip you around. This one's on my computer. Hadn't printed it off yet, but here's an example. I tell you exactly what map is on the test and what you need to study. That's what students always struggle with the most. But that's what they have the longest to study. So the second they get this study guide, that's what they should do. Go home and start studying that map. Then I tell you to go to the chapter checkup. The chapter checkups have a whole bunch of questions that aren't on the test. I'm not going to make you do chapter checkup questions that aren't on the test. And sometimes there's something on the test that's not on the chapter checkup, and I'll tell you if that's the case. So what they have to do is they have to go to the chapter checkup, chapter 8 checkup. It's at the end of the chapter. Sometimes I tell you the page, sometimes I tell you to find the chapter checkup. Look at B1 and then answer whatever the question is for B1. Sometimes it's like to define a word or to tell what a person did. This will either be their classwork or homework to answer what B1 is. And then the next day in class, I'll tell them word for word what the answer to that is. Go flip you back around. I'm a big believer in learning from mistakes. So that's why I like to do the test study guides that way. Number one, I think you can learn from your mistakes. Number two, I want you to learn more than just what's on the test. The example I always think of is there's a test in 7th grade where you have matching of Saul, David, and Solomon. There are literally books of the Bible written on David, Saul, and Solomon. So just tell them, here's David. David's going to be on the test. Then and they have to write down what they think is important about David. The next day we come in and we talk about what they think is important about David. And hopefully they remember some of that conversation. But then I'll tell them this is exactly the thing you got to know for the test. You're right. It's important to know that he defeated Goliath. But that didn't happen when he was a king, and that's what they want to know on the test is what he did as a king. I'm not sure that's exactly what it is, but you get my point. So they may have for homework, it may say on RenWeb for homework that they need to do this part of this test study guide. I'll expect them to have it done when they come in the next day. And then I'll tell them exactly what's on the test, their job to copy it and to study it. And then the last thing from the Abeka is these little books. These little books get lost so easily because they're little, but they're also extremely important. That's why students need to keep a folder for my class so that they can keep in it all of their study guides and they can keep this in there. That way it doesn't get lost in the shuffle. Depends on the class. I don't know why they do this. This is a pet peeve of mine. If you're in 6th and 7th grade, Abeka calls them skill sheets. In 7th and 8th, they call them geography projects. It's the same basic thing. It's maps. So I'll tell you where you look for the information. You fill out the map. Then I'll grade it. I'll give it back to you. Don't lose it after I give it back to you because this map more than likely will show up on a test. And so I'll tell you, hey, get out skill geography project 1, and this is what you'll need to know from the geography project for the test. So study it. So don't lose it after I grade it and give it back to you. And don't lose the book because you will have things out of it. And then, as I said, the one other thing that will be part of projects is some of the literature that we'll be doing as part of history, and then some other projects that I will give you. So that's basically Bible, 7th grade Bible and history for all the classes in a nutshell. Just wanted to make a video of the same information in the letter because that way I could show you samples of study guides. So you'll know when your student has a quiz or a test, this is what a quiz study guide should look like if they've done a good job of copying it. This is what a simple solutions quiz study guide should look like if they've done a good job of copying it. This is what the test study guide should look like. And then they all have a lined piece of paper that has the answers to these questions on it. That's pretty much it. Like I've said before, if you have any questions, feel free to email me. There will also be another email coming home explaining something I'm doing a little bit different this year that will hopefully help students to do an even better job of studying and to help their grade some when it comes to quizzes and tests. Looking forward to a great year.